What you'll find on a lot of films is a huge chunk of the movie will cut together beautifully and you'll have no problem. And then there'll be like a half a dozen scenes that you'll spend the rest of the 10 weeks working on.
The first cut, the first cut.
I'll just teach you simple cuts to start with.
Mr. Soderbergh,
Yeah.
I'm only assuming because he is so technically apt, and he did make a version of Solaris that was 92 minutes.
Right.
Pretty brutal, like pretty able to just walk in and go, no, we can drop this, we can drop this, we can drop this.
Yeah, he probably does. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember specifically, you know, from working with him any specific stories about that. But he will change. Yeah, he will change stuff without too much worry. I mean, and the thing about Soderbergh, he'll always keep. He always has money in the budget for reshooting. He's one of these guys who always.
Like Woody Allen too.
Yeah, he always reshoots pretty much to some extent. I mean, the films I worked with him on, he never had extensive reshoots. But he did always have, he always went back and got something.
And usually those reshoots are to just tie together some narrative holes, or...
You know, sometimes it can be small, it's just grabbing some inserts, but it's not usually a big thing.
I just watched Arbitrage.
Right.
You got it.
Yeah.
Really good picture.
Mm-hmm.
There's one interesting edit in there that I wanted to ask you about,
Okay.
just into the second act. Richard Gere's with the girlfriend, the mistress. And they're getting into an argument, and sort of cuts from her upset to her lying down.
Right.
And it's kind of like a
time jump.
A time jump.
Right.
But you don't really, you notice it for maybe half a second watching, then it just goes away.
Right.
Was there a lot that you cut out there? Was it just?
Yeah, well, it wasn't a lot that we cut out, but it was a fair amount. Yeah, there was and we didn't come up with that on our own. I wish I could take the credit for that, or Nick could take the credit for it. It was one of his friends. We kept wondering, the section was, you know, she's upset. I think Gere goes over and comforts her,
yeah,
and talks to her, and then she got up and mad and walked away. And then he sits there, but in the way it is now in the final film, I believe, you know, she's just upset, and then it cuts to her laying down, right?
Yeah. And then I think he comforts her or something.
Yeah, and then he comes in and comforts her. Yeah, so yeah, it was a matter of just getting out of that situation. We didn't have coverage, and we didn't have any other way of getting out of it, and it actually worked amazingly well. I remember when Nick showed it to me, he actually went ahead and did the cut without me in the room, because I think his friend told him that the night before, and I come the next day and he says, "Look at this," and I go, and my jaw just dropped. I'm like, why didn't we think of that?
Right.
You know,
it's always those friends that come in with those notes, right?
Yeah, it's like, how do, you know, we must have tried half a dozen or dozen other ideas on how to get out all that quicker. Because there was a fair amount cut out of that whole scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the scenes with Nate Parker.
Yeah.
What a performance.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of nowhere, like the confidence of a great actor
mm-hmm.
coming across, and such a completely believable relationship.
Right.
That you sort of just feel like you're peering into. When you get the footage of a great performance like that, did you have to help find it a lot, or was it just all there, like every take?
No, it was all there. I mean, Nate was, yeah, he's fantastic. And, Nick that was one of the roles I know Nick told me he originally had somebody else cast, and that person dropped out. And so when he went with Nate, he was like unsure. He just, was like, I don't know if I'm going to take a chance with this guy, but I'm not sure. And, as everybody knows, what a great surprise. I mean, the guy's just awesome. Nate gives you some variation in what he does, and he does it, but he's pretty consistent. Mm-hmm. And that's the type of actors that are great. I mean, they'll every performance they give you is good. They're just a little different. There's not like a bad one in there. It's not like, oh, I can't use this one, it's horrible. And where you have actors like that, where you have to find their good one, because they've got the four that aren't any good.
Right.
And it's like, or I got to find this line that's better that I can use. And but Nate's one of these guys where they never give, Cate Blanchett's another one of those people. I mean, it's just like, there is not a shit take among her, you know, anywhere. It just isn't. I mean,
Right.
it's just that you know, it's all good.
Right. Whereas Brad was probably loads of shit takes.
Brad was fine. No, Brad's good.
Yeah, of course. Let's talk about another movie.
Yeah.
Kind of, I think, a movie that didn't maybe necessarily get its due. Trust.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about the actual emergence of the call him the boyfriend, the pedophile,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
The online seducer. It's really creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just plain freaking creepy.
Well, that scene was a challenge. That's another one of those scenes that I referred to earlier where that's one of the scenes you work from the day. And I said to David when he walked in the cutting room, we started working together, I says, this scene we're going to work on until the very end. I says, this is going to be the one. And he's like, no, I think that scene's going to work out just fine. There's going to be no problem. I was right. It's like, you know, it was a dynamic of trying to figure out how to play it. And we made very short versions. We made versions where we actually made a version where we don't even see the scene hardly. He comes, he sits down, we play it wide, and then they're walking away together. And you don't know what happened. We tried that version. We actually thought that might be the way to go. We don't need this scene. And because we didn't know how that scene was going to really play for people. We were worried about it. And we were worried about the believability of it. You know, there's so many detractors of that movie that say, oh, this girl should know better. Oh, she should be smarter. Oh, well, the truth of the matter is this happens.
I think you worked painstakingly to have it, you know, that the character himself first says he's a junior. Then he says, I'm 20. Then he says, I'm 25.
Yeah.
And she's getting more and more stupid. At the same time, she doesn't want to give up the affection that she's
Right.
getting. And then he does the same thing when he meets her. He just starts by being,
hey, I'm only 35.
Yeah.
And he's probably 40.
right. It's an interesting first act because it really is it's interesting because it builds to a critical moment, and then that critical moment just kind of happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's creepy.
Yeah.
And then everything that follows is even creepier. Even the scene with the ice cream in the shop, you almost want the movie to stop because you want
Right.
you want to get away from it. Now, just out of curiosity, are you working on anything else right now that we should know about?
Spring Breakers comes out.
Just tell us a bit about cutting that really quickly.
Spring Breakers was great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Harmony Korine.
Harmony Korine.
So it's Sodi and Harmony Korine.
Yeah, Harmony Korine.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, Harmony. I met Harmony on the phone. That's how I meet most of my directors.
Yeah.
Talked with him, and he says to me, "Mix it up, make it different. Don't I know the script's in order, but mix up the order." So his scripts are very basic. His scripts are almost like an outline. There's almost no dialogue in them. I think there was maybe only 9 or 10 pages of dialogue in the whole script. And
the script's like 30, 40...
It was 77 pages.
77 pages. So you're missing a solid 40 pages of dialogue.
Yeah, it's like 77 pages, and there's very little dialogue. Most of it's just description, saying, she's wearing this color nail polish, and she's got this outfit on, and they're smoking a blunt, and then they go in this room, and they crush some drug, and they snort it. And,
did you ever call them up and say, Harmony, what is a blunt?
Yeah. I pretty much would have to do that because I'm pretty naive.
You look like you party like a little bit hard.
No, I don't actually.
Yeah, really?
No.
Don't
Do I look that bad, huh?
Don't lie to me, Doug.
I didn't know I looked that bad.
Yeah, you're looking a little rough around the edges.
Okay, well,
Doug Crise.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks so much for being here.
Okay.